Hi, I'm Julia. We're going to be breaking down my song Lydia that I recorded with my band Fur Patrol. And then when we released it out into the wilds of the world, it went to #1. Woohoo! My baby, my baby. The band came about because I'd been writing a whole lot of songs. So I'd been touring with another band, but while we were touring, I started writing songs of my own in earnest and started getting a good pile of them together. And then I decided that I wanted to record a demo. But when we got together to rehearse the songs, to do a little recording, we ended up just having too much fun. And then we decided that we would play a gig, you know, since we'd learned all these songs, it seemed silly to waste that opportunity. So we played a show and everyone loved it and they said, play another one. And so we did, we played hundreds and hundreds more. Lydia was for me one of those holy grail songs that as a songwriter, you kind of live for. Well, the whole thing kind of arrived in my lap, almost fully formed, like it was channeled out of the ether. And I wrote the entire thing, beginning to end, including lyrics, in about 15 minutes. I've never had that happen again. It just When I was a kid, my mum listened to lots and lots and lots and lots of like 1950s and 1960s pop songs. My songwriting was initially influenced by a lot of that. They're very melodic, very classic kind of song structures. Lydia is very much in that vein, even down to like the chord progression, the that's like a very classic kind of pop song chord progression, I suppose. And it has very clear sections, so like the verse, and then like the pre-chorus, which is the, and no, I won't hold it against her, which lyrically has it sets up for the chorus. Something as simple as, my baby, my baby. I mean, that's kind of like dumb pop songwriting 101. It's so simple and catchy. Thank you, universe, for sending the song my way, yay. Just before the song goes into the final choruses, it's a really good way of building things up. It goes, and no, I won't hold it against her, against her. My baby, it draws it out a little bit more and adds a little bit more drama. When I was writing it, I kind of liked the movement of lyrically, don't you want me? Don't you need me? And then for that real kind of punch, it's like, don't you love me? And sometimes I think about that and go, nice work, Julia. Okay, so the recorded version of the song starts out with this bass line. Or an approximation thereof. Sorry, Andrew, that's our bass player. He pulled that out of the chords, just. So it's nothing fancy, but within itself, it's really distinctive. It's a good bass line. The guitar solo, I had this idea in my head for this kind of sad, lonely, I can't get any internet connection, kind of whiny, you know, like which Steve happily complied, but with all these nice kind of weird bendy notes as well. So yeah, so sad. The recorded version definitely just, I think there's like 3 repetitions of the chorus at the end, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's meant to be that, you know, that sort of emotional outpouring of, oh, how could you do this to me? Everyone loves a good heartbreak song. You know, I was in my early 20s. At that point in time, you're kind of learning how relationships work, and all your friends are learning how relationships work. It was just me telling like a conglomerate story of what was going on. The other person in the relationship had cheated on my character in the song, but rather than being annoyed or, you know, angry at the third wheel, be angry at the person that had actually done the cheating. Usually melodies and basic shape of words come at the same time, and that's when I'm just often sitting on the floor with my guitar, just noodling around. I don't know what it is about playing guitar and sitting on the floor, it just seems appropriate. So I'll get a nice chord pattern that I like and start making the melody, and the words kind of come out of the sounds that I make with the melody. For me, it's very much an all together, sort of at the same time process, rather than, I don't tend to write all the lyrics and then fit them into a melody. The way that Fur Patrol worked initially was I would take these fully structured songs, and then the band, we'd work together to flesh them out and give them dynamics and shape and more drama and a lot more volume. I think dynamics are a really good way of adding drama. Dynamics and the density of the instrumentation, whether that's more intensity, like so everyone's playing everything all at once, or like the very beginning of the song is just bass and drums and vocal. There's also drama in that because it's quite stripped back and vulnerable. It's like Andrew's bass line, the bum, ba, da, 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 which is such an integral part of the song, you know, that's immediately identifiable. Lydia was recorded as part of the album Pet. There was a studio in Wellington called Marmalade. We went in there for a week and just spent like from 10 a.m. until 4 a.m. most days, just in there making a racket and experimenting with different things. In the instrumental, there's like these metallic percussion sounds, and from memory, Simon, our drummer, went out and found all these old bits of metal and they just like bashed them together, particularly in that part of the song. There's all sorts of weird bits that he was just like, I'm gonna put these in here. And our producer was Dave Long, who was the guitarist in the Muttonbirds. Dave definitely encouraged our penchant for experimenting with different sounds and finding weird things like the percussion in Lydia. Another thing that we had in the studio was an old analog synthesizer. I can't remember what it was called. It made all sorts of crazy sounds that ended up being layered into the guitars and the drums and the bass, and you can hear it sometimes sneaking in and out of the ends and beginnings of songs. The song itself didn't change in the production process. We had it very well mapped out, you know, the whole form of it. I believe that a song should be able to stand up, played in its barest form, like one instrument accompanying and a vocal. And I feel like if it doesn't work like that, then it probably needs a bit more work, if that makes sense. It's kinder on yourself to focus on the enjoyment of playing music, the beautiful things that can come from it, like friendships and just the act of creating something, rather than going, I'm doing this to be famous or I'm doing this to make lots of money, because 99.9% of the time, neither of those things are gonna happen. But you can have so much fun along the way, and it's so good for your brain and it's so good for relationships with other people. Just do it. Don't you need me anymore? Don't you